commission. The commission.
Hey everybody, this is the commission. I'm James. I have Kevin, and I got Justina. And today, our topic today, we're gonna be selling 3 things in the NBA. We're gonna be buying, and then we're gonna just keep and wait. You know what I'm saying? So, Justina, would you have anything like your first thing that you would think that that you would want to keep so far that's going on, like a positive thing that's going on in the NBA or with any teams or anything? Or any player in particular?
No, not really. Well, since the most recent thing is the Harden situation. Harden just got traded to Brooklyn, which makes them even more of a contending team. So did I disagree with the trade? Yes, because I thought the Sixers would have been a better beneficial team for Harden. Kind of helped Ben out in a sense since Ben hasn't developed the motion of being able to shoot at a consistent basis. And so that's one. But the protocol of the COVID rules are having me under scrutiny to understand what's really going on. You know, I mean, the way they have the new rules set up, it's almost as if it's like, is it going to still change anything? So my guess is, do you put all 72 games back in the bubble, or are you just going to still keep increasing the new rules? So that's one, the NBA COVID rules right now.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I know that, George Hill came out recently and talked about how, he feels like if they're going to be the rules, and if they're going to change the rules, based off of what's going on with other teams, then what's the point of playing? And I understand that, he has, of course he has the right to say that. It is something that's real important in something to think about, because, perfect example is the, whole Kyrie situation. The video comes out, he's at his sister's 30th, and now it's like, okay, he's at his sister's 30th and he has to be put in quarantine. So, of course that raised a red flag for the NBA. And not only that, it raised red flags for the NBA, it just raised flags, just period, as far as, other players' safety, and what these guys are really doing, outside of, just playing the game. So I feel like the protocols, I mean, they're placed to have, a certain amount of safety for the players. And my question is, honestly, why weren't these rules kind of set earlier? If you have a product that you're trying to protect, did you trust the players to do what they were supposed to do? Because let's face it, I mean, are we really going to trust the players? At this point, you had the bubble and the bubble was a success. So because of the bubble, did you say, okay, we're back in our respective cities? I think we could trust the teams to allow, to trust the players to make sure that they aren't doing anything, crazy. And then boom, it happens. Now there are a number of teams that had, situations where they've only played 7 guys or they only played 8 guys that were available. So, I definitely agree, Jay, that it's going to be something to look further into, and we'll see how the rest of the season progresses, after that. Right. So what you think about it, Jay? What did you think about James?
Oh man. if they're doing tests and stuff like that, I mean, I know I'm probably sound like I don't want to be like the guy who feels like it's not about safety, but if you're constantly taking tests and it constantly comes up negative, and they're like the protocols they're fine, but at the same time, if someone's healthy and what I'm saying, he's not. I mean, once you're healthy, you're not contagious, so the guy should play. So if Kyrie pops up, even though he was at his sister's party or whoever, I'm saying, if James Harden is out in the clubs or whatever, and if he comes out negative, it's negative. Now, at the same time, now with those videos coming out, it has the portrayal of them not caring about work and about the NBA as a product and whole. But at the same time, like, we are human beings. I know everybody else has went out to eat or went to someone's birthday party that we probably you should, but what I'm saying, not doing any type of COVID protocol or taking care of yourself or whatever, because you're just living life. So if they come out and it says it's negative, then yeah, but it sucks that videos come out and people don't see the whole picture. And if he's healthy, he forfeited. He had a forfeit wage. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. He had a forfeit wage. So, but the stuff like where players can't knuckle bump and can only like no shaking hands, I think that's really like it's like BS, because it's just like, it's okay to sweat on each other, it's okay to dunk on each other, it's okay to bump each other in the post, it's okay to steal the ball, and you're still gonna wipe your eye when at some point in time, or scratch or something like that. So that does not do nothing. So they just need to have some realism to their rules, to be honest, and just realize, like, hey, if someone's healthy, they should probably let them play. Like, it is, if they comes back negative, that's because that's what you want. As from having COVID, that's what you want. You want your test to come back negative. If you're positive, then yeah, you gotta chill. Like, you have to be in quarantine. If someone comes around you, you be in quarantine, and then if you have to take your test and it keeps popping up negative, then I feel like the NBA is holding back their own product.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure.
So one of the things I would like to definitely speak about, and I just was on it for a little bit and got off of it, is this Brooklyn trade, of course, with Harden. And I want to be able to get your opinions on it, because first thing first, when news hit the basketball world, I'm not so gung-ho on it. I have to sit, I have to analyze, I have to look at the team itself, the system they have, and also systems that they can implement to make them a better basketball team. And one thing I loved about Kobe is, no matter how good his team was, he always found ways to elevate his team. That's what separated Kobe from some of the greatest. Even LeBron does it, don't get me wrong, but that's what made me love Kobe so much. So we have 3 elite scorers with a bunch of shooters around them, with 1 or 2 defenders, but you have 3 elite scorers. One of the greatest scorers to touch this season, last season, prior season, and they are all on one team. Tell me what you all think about this trade, and tell me how you think it affects the league moving forward.
So if we're gonna talk about markets, and we're talking about buying or selling, as of right now, I'm going to still buy on this trade. And the reason why I'm going to still buy on this trade is because they still have, of course, more roster moves to make. They have 3 available roster spots right now. I think we're still going to look into the trade market. One thing that I can say about this new Big 3 is that you have one out of the Big 3 that understands the magnitude of having 2 other guys.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is Kevin Durant. I feel like with his experiences, spending his time in Golden State, it gave him an opportunity to look at the lenses of how a super team is operated, how it's led, how it's ran. So out of the 3, I know that he went off on a tear last night. He had 42. But I do still believe that he's at a point in his career where he understands and he's conscious enough to say, hey, you know, if I got to do something else to help the team win, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And to be frank, KD really, he really was like that. He was that player, you know, all along. You know, it's just that he understands his matches and he takes advantage of them. I think it was just, you know, with the Golden State situation, it kind of helped him elevate his consciousness a little more. And I think right now with James Harden, I think it's kind of like do or die time for him. So he also kind of understands the magnitude of what he needs to do in order to finally win. And then, of course, you have Kyrie Irving. I think everybody can agree that Kyrie Irving was made to be the second guy. I think we can agree with that, right?
Okay.
But now it's like, I mean, it's almost like this is going to be kind of like 2A, 2B. It just depends on the situation. You know, I feel like that KD is still the alpha because let's be frank, KD is he's that guy, right? And we've seen that medicine so far has proven to be advanced enough that you can come back from a major, you know, injury and still be productive.
Yeah.
You know, Dwight Powell, he's looking good. Kevin Durant, he's looking good, you know, so far. We look at Rudy Gay, he's still playing. He's still playing. And John Wall, you know, medicine has advanced. And with Brooklyn, it's going to be their defense, of course, and it's going to have to be by committee right now until they find, you know, an anchor, or even another 3-and-D type player, because of course with Spencer Dinwiddie out, you know, they have to trust and rely on guys like TLC. They have to rely on guys like Joe Harris. So right now, defensively, you know, they still have to figure it out. But I'm still buying this trade until they prove to me otherwise, that it was just a waste of time.
And then for me, I'm still buying. The only thing is, I think sometimes we're so quick on like microwave success that, you know, we forget that, you know, these are our guys in a certain specific point of their careers where, for one, they've done everything statistical that you can do at their peak already. You know, like there's nothing else that those three guys can do outside of just building onto more stats and stats and stats and stats, right? So even if they don't win a championship this year, they might see it as a championship or bust. You guys, I mean, it's always about looking forward. As an organization, it's always what you're doing, looking forward. So yeah, this year they might have some bumps in the road and stuff like that. But you're telling me you have probably 3 of the best scorers in the NBA on your team. So yes, the ones, just like Kev said, like, you know, defense is going to be by committee. Defense is going to be a team effort. It's going to have to be everybody. It can't just be, you know, one person or 2 people that's really like known for defense, because they don't have an anchor right now. You know, they don't have that. But also we know they have 2 guys who just put up about 80 points last night. 80 points.
And was very efficient as well.
Very efficient. And then you add
very efficient.
Very efficient. You're gonna add on to Kyrie. So you have 3 guys who can easily put up 80 to 90 points a night. And everybody else just plays a role. You know, Joe Harris knocks down shots. TLC plays defense, knocks down shots. DeAndre Jordan just gets roll to the basket and, you know, get the everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that, you know, other teams want trades too. Like I think that the Pacers want to trade. I'm praying that what's called super healthy is just a mass and nothing cancerous. Yeah. Karis LeVert, yeah. Like he's special. Like he's special. I think the Rockets won because James Harden didn't want to be there, and we all been part of teams or any type of work situation that if one person doesn't want to work, it's still, no matter how great you guys want to be, if that one person doesn't want to buy in, it's not going to help. No matter what, no matter how great that person is or talented that person is, they don't want to buy in, they don't want to buy in. So now they have a team that everybody wants to be there. So I don't think no one lost, but for sure I'm buying Nets stock because there's Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. Like, those guys are all amazing in their own. And I feel like, just like you said, like, I think this is the first time that, a while, that James Harden had to have another scorer who can put the ball in the hole like how he does.
Right. But you know what? And now I say this is because I told you I look at the system before I look at anything else.
Yep.
Before Harden got there, they had Jared Allen, they had Karis LeVert still. And they still had DJ. They also had Reggie Perry. And of course, Kyrie, Joe, Spencer Dinwiddie did what he did when he got hurt. So what made me really pay attention to them was they had length and they had shooters.
Yep.
Which is dominant coming in the playoffs, because you got length and you got shooters. That length of defense, can correlate to actually making perimeter scores, actually beat them on the perimeter. You see what I'm saying? So I looked at it. I'm like, okay. So then Jared Allen and Karis get traded. So now you just got DJ and now you just got Reggie Perry. And which I think KD will have to pay, and I've said it once again on my Twitter feed, is from high post to mid post.
Yep.
Being an elite passer from that position, because he is going to go in the post if they don't buy or fill those 3 roster spots. So you're going to have to play the 4. And you still got James, you still got Kyrie. What was so beneficial for me from them trading their interior presence, the only interior presence they had is they didn't have the length. So when you're talking about teams like the Lakers got Gasol, they got AD, they got LeBron, they got KCP, they got THT. They have all of these players.
Yeah.
You're going to have to stop them interiorly and exteriorly. You're going to have to do that. So what do you do with players like KCP? What do you do with players like THT? Make them beat you from the perimeter. Don't let them get interior. Make them shoot the shots that are available to them. And so that's what I was looking for the Nets. So I'm still looking in. I'm looking for them to be able to fill that roster spot, and just like you said, James, Hassan or JaVale will do the trick. A lot of people don't like Hassan because they think he's lazy, but he just don't have that veteran presence right now to tell him, hey, look, this ain't a goddamn game.
Shape up.
Let's shape up. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Kobe did it with the White. The White, blamed Kobe for years about it. But he was telling them the truth. Look, we got time to play. Let's go, So they get them a 4. They say it can't just be anybody, but you get a aggressive 4 that can stay in his position, that can rebound and box out. The Nets got something scary.
Yeah.
The Nets got something scary.
And I think the biggest thing is, we can put them in the Eastern Conference Finals for sure.
Yeah.
I just fear just a lot of teams people don't realize when teams in certain conferences look at the best team and they try to counter off that team, right? They try to this is what we need to counter off. For the Lakers, we need length. So for the Eastern Conference,
yes.
The Eastern Conference, the reason why the Bucks are always so scary is because they have Giannis.
They have Giannis.
And if you don't build that wall, if you're not shading super hard to whatever side he's driving towards, he can go bananas. Now, other teams, he has to get through all the other teams to even probably make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But them adding, Drew Holiday helped a lot. Because now he doesn't have to be the go-to scorer in the fourth quarter.
No.
However, if the Nets don't solve that problem, yes, will they win probably at the end of the day? Yes, because they're fired. They're just, once again, you have 2-3 people who can go for 90 points. However, that's a lot of. But we also understand with injuries out of only one of those three have not had a major injury. So that's a lot of asking for people who are just coming off of injuries and, you know, being, I don't want to say injury prone, but, you know, being injury prone their career. So.
Yeah. Another team. So I want to keep buying right now.
Okay.
And the next team that I'm going to continue to buy is the team that could potentially be facing Brooklyn if Brooklyn is who we say they are, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you something. The Lakers, they understand. They get it. The protocols, the new rules,
Yep.
they're not complaining.
Yep.
They know what's at stake. And you know what's funny? They're getting teams done early.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting them over with the first 2.5, 3 quarters.
Yep.
They're getting them done early. They understand what it's going to take for them to get back to the finals. And they're doing it by committee. AD, LeBron, they're only going to be as good as what each other is giving them. I'm very, very impressed with Dennis Schroeder in the way he's making plays and allowing LeBron to kind of rest a little more, because he is that type of player that can do essentially what needs to be done for LeBron not to do a lot. One thing we've all said, that if AD is having a bad night and LeBron has to kind of go ham, then there's a higher chance for the opponent to win. But with Dennis Schroeder there now, it's kind of giving LeBron kind of both that sense of, even if AD isn't, you know, having his best game, at least Dennis Schroeder can come in and, you know, give us, you know, that leg up that we need. So the Lakers, they understand it. They get it. And I'm buying that stock hands down. I do not see anybody in the West that could compete with them right now. And they look entertaining to watch, to be honest with you, at least the first half, you know, because they're, like I said, they're getting the opponent done early. They're getting it, you know, out the way. And the way the schedule has worked out for them as well also is important, because remember, with scheduling, they're playing kind of like they're playing the same team, kind of like in like a back-to-back situation type. So, you know, that kind of helps a defending champ as well, because now all you have to do is you have to basically, you know, scout, you know, you have to basically scout once, you know, for 2 games. So that could potentially be a 2-0 situation, or it could potentially be a 1-1 situation. I don't think they, you know, because they're the superior team, I don't think they come off 0-2. So, you know, that helps them out as well. So Lakers stop, I'm buying it.
You said one important thing. You said they're getting them done early. And a part of me thinks that has a lot to do with LeBron and the time he has played in the NBA. And one of them is the Warriors. When they were playing with the Warriors for those 4 years back to back, he had to understand that with the Warriors, you can't come out and play. You can't come around and play around. You got to get them done. So I see that approach what he took and brought it now, because he has a competing squad. You know what I mean? I'm definitely buying the Lakers, and definitely everything around them sticks. Everything. It's like oatmeal and butter, oatmeal and milk. Everything around them is sticking. They're all trying to get that sticking, because it only makes them strong the more they build. It just constantly builds. So I'm definitely buying it. I'm for sure. What about you, James?
Oh, most definitely buying the Lakers stock. You know, it's funny because me and Najee were just talking about doing something right, and then shout out to Najee though, because he's not here today. But that, I think, historically we have to start looking at, what Oscar Robinson and what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was doing. Man, this is LeBron and AD right here. Like, and just everybody, just like Kev said, everybody it's like they're sticking to who they are. There's not one person who feels like they need to do more, or since they got paid, they got to do more, or maybe they feel like they need a bigger contract. Trez is coming in, fitting right in. He's not feeling like he needs a bigger contract. He's playing like, I want to win a championship with the Lakers.
Right.
LeBron James being LeBron James. AD's being AD. You got THT out here playing. When the minutes he gets, he's super successful. So just seeing him grow. Even Kyle Kuzma, everybody's so hard on him, but they don't realize he's playing with LeBron James and AD. So he's doing what he does. I mean, he's doing what he's able to do. He's out there playing hard on defense. It's not like he's not playing hard. He takes the open shots. He's trying to get to the lane, get layups. He runs the floor. All these guys are buying into winning another championship. And that's the hugest thing about when you're in – think every team that plays the Lakers are circling them every single game. They're the defending champions. They're circling this game like, we're going to go out here and play hard. So it's not like the Lakers just get fluff games sometimes. Yeah, like the teams might, like, they're killing teams, but those guys are really out there trying to play hard, and the Lakers are really out there, putting away early. Like Kev said, they're putting away early. So I'm buying Lakers stock. Another team stock that I'm also buying is right now, he's my MVP in the 76ers, Joel Embiid. I'm buying Sixers stock. I want to see what happens through the, I feel like, we all agree on you have to choose one guy or the other guy. So, we have to see what happens if one of those players are going to get traded in between with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. But right now, once again, they look, whether 9-4 or whatever, and then, one game they had to play with 7 people. So, Joel Embiid's been looking like a monster. Like, he's looking like the MVP this year. I think this is the inspired play that, it's the no nonsense, less talking. I'm just trying to go out there and kill and let everybody know that there might be Kevin Durant in the Eastern Conference, and then there's AD in Milwaukee, but I'm here too. I'm the best center in the NBA.
Okay. Now, are you buying or selling the Charlotte Hornets?
Who? Long term? Buying.
Okay.
Buying.
What about you, heavy handles?
So
And
this,
Charlotte,
now. I know. I'm looking at this season. I'm selling this season because in the beginning, when we had our pre-draft, I was like, yo, they got it right. And right as of right now, because they're still trying to figure it out. They're still trying to understand. Like I said, it was up to Borrego to figure it out. And so far, it hasn't translated to wins. Like, I feel like the core is together. Like, they're coming together.
Yeah.
It's just not translating to wins. Like, the Melo and Miles Bridges collab is sick when they're on the floor together.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing that. But at the same time, you're not winning these games. And this season, I'm selling, but I think I'm a go with James in long term. I'm buying because LaMelo just changes the dynamic, especially when he just gets on the floor. It's just about the intangibles with LaMelo, because you can see him come on the floor and he'll do something that'll make you say, well, goodness, like shouldn't he be starting? But I think I understand what Borrego is trying to do. I don't think he's trying to put too much pressure on LaMelo.
Yep. And
that's why he's sticking with his Devontae and Terry Rozier lineup. He's sticking with Miles Bridges, staying, put on the bench. I feel like with with the Martin. I think it's Caleb that's doing more of the playing versus Cody. But fact check me on that. I think he's trying to just look for certain guys to see if they can figure out, what they would need to do moving forward. As of right now, I'm still high on PJ. I still feel like PJ can come into his own as far as his stretch forward, because according to the dictionary, I think I can categorize PJ as a stretch big. I think what Borrego is doing right now, he's putting PJ in a situation where it's kind of like catch and shoot right now. But I feel like PJ could do a lot more than just to catch and shoot. I want him to put him in situations where he's in the high post, and depending on certain reads, he could make the right play. Because right now, so from a playmaking perspective, it looks like PJ is just trying to force it a little too much.
Yeah.
Because he's being put in the box right now, just kind of rebounding and then picking and pop, of what he's doing right now. But I think he can do a little bit more. But like season with Charlotte, I'm gonna sell, and then in the long term, I'm gonna come back to him and buy that stock. So that's how I feel about Charlotte right now. They're still exciting to watch. Remember, I told you guys, they could be the Carolina Panthers this year. They might lose a lot, but at least the game isn't like, oh my God, let me change the channel.
Right. But this is the thing. Only thing they are is a thin line between a main guard and how to get rid of the rest of the guards. And right now they have three main guards, but you got LaMelo, Devontae Graham, as well as Terry Rozier. And then you still have Gordon Hayward, we are getting Gordon Hayward from the Utah Jazz back now.
Yes.
The body is perfect. It's everything now. You got Miles Bridges. You got Bismack Biyombo. So right now, what's stopping them, especially to actually grow and continuously grow, is just the guards. We all know, just start LaMelo. Just give LaMelo the keys. And then now you have to find either a wing defender or a wing player. And I'm telling you, that team will grow. It will grow. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking forward to, because LaMelo has the ability to, he's just like him and Sharif Cooper, Kai Cunningham. They can change their speed every possession.
Right.
It's so unique to watch it, actually, in a sense. So unique to watch. You know what I mean? And so he can see the play form before it happens. So he has the keys. He knows what it's like to be a pro. All they need is another wing defender and build from that part. So I get the selling and buying heavy handles. I do that. But one last thing, and I'll just leave it at this. What's going on with the Hawks?
I'm still buying. But let me tell you this, because I've said this. Now, JC, John Collins, he has every right to come at Trey and say, listen, Trey, you're pulling too early in the shot clock. My biggest problem with that was, why give it to a guy who would write an article about it for everybody to see and for everybody to panic about? Because I guarantee you, if that stays in house, the situation that the Hawks are going through right now, it wouldn't happen. I guarantee it. Now, I'll be the first to say, I've never been in an NBA locker room. I'm not a pro. But I do understand. I've been in locker rooms.
Right.
I've talked to newspapers growing up as a starting point guard. And for me, I just feel like what John Collins said is indeed true. it's not that he was lying. It's true. It's just that when you open up Pandora's box, and Pandora's box is the media is going to take that narrative and they're going to flip that narrative so many different ways that it's going to make the consumer think that there's something really wrong. And then they're going to start looking for it. So now that you see Trae doing it, you didn't pay attention to it at first.
Nope.
Unless you're really a true basketball head, as a casual fan, you were not paying attention to it. Now you're paying attention to it, and now you're getting on Twitter and saying, yeah, Trae trash.
Right.
Now he's 1 for 11. He's 7. He was 7 for 23 last night. You know, like he's not as good as we think he is. See, that's the negative about that.
Yep.
And I just feel like John Collins should have kept that in house. He should have taken Trae out to dinner and say, "Hey, Trae, what's going on with you pulling with 21 seconds left on the shot clock? Let's kind of work that out. Let's work that out together, though. You know, let's let we have new guys. Let's allow LP's offense to kind of marinate, you know, and if we can get it under 14 and get a decent shot, then let's do it that way."
Yeah.
But when you're coming up and, you know, I'm setting that screen at the top of the key, it's still 21 seconds left on the shot clock, and you pulling, bro, I can't get that rebound for you. Long shots calls for long rebounds.
You get the
So
right.
I'm like, come on, bro, like help me out here. Let's run the offense. Let's get it popping, and let's be great.
Yep.
You know, if that's the conversation that I would have liked to see John Collins have with Trae. And I'm not going to say they didn't have that conversation. It's just the fact that it was brought to the media. Media wrote a piece on it. Everybody read it. Now everybody is kind of like second guessing, you know, and that's the thing that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that they figure it out. I think they will figure it out. I'm still buying because Rondo in the playoffs is deadly, and there's 10 spots this year. So as long as they're 1 through 10, then who knows what. Now, of course, if they're, you know, the 9th or the 10th, they're scratching and clawing just like Dame did last year in the bubble. And, of course, they will have to, you know, meet up against Brooklyn in the first round or maybe Philly, depending on, you know, how Brooklyn, Philly, and even Boston, you know, because right now in the East, right now it's looking like they're the top 3 squads. So, you know, it just depends on who comes up number 1, but depending on who they play, you know, it's going to be tough. But I still think Atlanta is going to make some noise. So I'm still buying that stock.
I'm buying Atlanta stock. I'm selling Lloyd Pierce stock. As a coach, you know, we always hear, you know, and I'm not saying, and of course I don't want to see a black coach get fired, but at the same time, sometimes you might need to hear a voice. When your best player and your coach don't get along, guess what happens? Coach always leaves. There's never a point in time in the NBA does the player get traded over to coach.
Unless you're Popovich.
Yeah, unless you're Pop.
Yeah, unless you're Pop.
Unless you're Pop. Unless you're Pop. Yeah, unless you're Pop. And then that's just levels, you know what I'm saying? But no one else does that. So when you see that article comes out, or maybe there's a different way of you telling Trae, hey, you know, John Collins has a point, you know what I'm saying? Or when Steve Nash said his comments, Lloyd Pierce should have said, nah, we're winning basketball games. He's playing basketball. If the refs are calling it, that's what they're calling. That's basketball. If refs are calling it, they're calling it. So, you know, he should have came to defense. He should be coming for his star player. However, people are not paying attention to, even if you're a casual and you're looking at the box score, look what Trae's trying to do now. He's trying to get Cam Reddish 13 shots a game and DeAndre Hunter 13 shots a game. And, you know, he's trying to let everybody play. And are they winning? Maybe Trae's looking at the thing and maybe they're just not ready yet for all that responsibility. So guess what? I'm going to take it on myself. Because remember, people don't realize Trae's been scoring like this since high school.
Right.
He's been scoring like this since high school. So there's never a point in time where he probably feels like this is hard or this is a transition to something different. I think he averaged 44 points in high school. Then he went to Oklahoma and did what he did at Oklahoma, leading in a Power 5 conference. You know what I'm saying? In assists and scoring. He's led the nation in assists and scoring. So the fact that he's probably saying like, okay, I want them to get better and I don't want so much pressure on them. Maybe that's one way people don't. And once again, I'm not trying to make a narrative or anything, but sometimes people have to look at why is he doing this? And then when you look at the other games, dang, maybe him only shooting 10 shots and they're not being successful or even nowhere close to being successful. Maybe he has something going. You know what I'm saying? A missed shot's a missed shot. That's what I always teach my kids. A missed shot is a missed shot. So, yeah, it might be early, but you don't say nothing when you shoot it with 20 seconds left on the shot clock and it goes in. You guys are up there doing like this and stuff like that. You guys are cheering. It's being able to stay together. So Lloyd Pierce, I don't think he's doing a great job of keeping his team together.
But when did the narrative hit that star player and Lloyd Pierce weren't getting along? Was it this year?
I've read some stuff even last year as well.
Okay.
And it might be you know what? It maybe they have a great relationship, but I would say if you have someone who's under fire, and if the media is putting him under fire, guess what? As a coach, I'm gonna go to the media and I'm gonna set that fire out. I'm gonna put it out. No, we're not having that. We're doing perfectly fine. He's doing perfectly
right.
This is his third year. We're doing.
I agree.
He's still learning the game.
Yeah, and remember, I put Borrego and Pierce in the same, in the same boat when we did our pre-draft show. Well, it was really post-draft show, but I said it's up to Lloyd Pierce to figure it out. They have roster. It's going to be challenges. We've already seen it. Gallo, he's already been, in and out the lineup.
Yeah.
Rondo, he's been in and out the lineup. But when you saw those guys in the lineup, you saw the potential that they had. Even with Boggs, struggling on and off the way he's been. But when he's been on, I go back. I always go back to the second Brooklyn game when like everything just worked. The consistency is what I'm looking for going back to that game because Trey was doing all the right reads. John Collins was making all the right plays off the roll and even off the high post.
Yeah.
Versus Jared Allen. This was against Jared Allen.
Yeah.
So my thing was, with Lloyd and James kind of, put some light into it. As a coach, if you see this happening, put that fire out early. Pop would do it. We've seen Pop many times come out to the media and say, why are you guys so worried about why we're struggling? We're fine. And then guess what? Guess who's in the finals in June? So, I do believe that LP, I think he has to step up some more. I think he needs to put those fires out. And some of those games that they lost, they could have easily won, honestly. Like the game last night, I saw a clip where it's 23 seconds left in the game, 21 seconds left on the shot clock. And remember what I was saying? Nobody was paying attention to it until John Collins mentioned it. Somebody took a screenshot of Trae Young pulling from 30 feet with 21 seconds left on the shot clock, and it was 23 seconds left. They're down 2.
108, 108, I think.
Yeah, it was 106 to 108. Somebody had that screenshot. And, there was like, they basically kind of quoted what John Collins was saying. Now, once again, if that article didn't come out, would they have, done that screenshot? I don't know. Like I said, you have to be a real basketball savant to pay attention to stuff like that.
Which means
So-
you have to still follow that team a lot.
Exactly.
The average casual fan ain't following just that team a lot, no. So.
Exactly. So my whole thing about it is no one was mentioning that until the article came out. No, just us in our group. We had concerns of Trey pulling too early.
Yep.
We said it last year. We said it before they did the roster upgrade. We always question Trey and his early decisions in the shot clock, because he might have seen something, or he's trying to get into a rhythm early. We don't know what he's thinking, but we've always said that. But until that article came out, now everybody is
Yeah.
but the thing is, everybody is pointing to it negatively. We never said anything negatively about it. We just had concerns to where, we say, oh, is it because, he feels like the team isn't as good yet? Or, once again, does he see something, defensively that we're just not looking at in the press box? So like I said, I say all of that to say I'm still buying stock because they will figure it out eventually. And there's right now they're looking like a 500 team where they can go from as far as 6 in the East down to 10. They're between 6 and 10 right now. And earlier in the season, I said only if they get that chemistry and if they go 20-5 their first 25 games, the confidence is there, they'll be top 4. But if that doesn't happen, they still stay in that mediocre frame between, I think I said between 5 and 8. I mean, it's starting to look like they're in that, that mediocrity range, and I'm gonna still buy it because last year they weren't even sniffing the playoffs.
Yep.
They're just going through growing pains right now. So, and that's just a part of every young core. Everybody going through growing pains. But I'm definitely buying because they are definitely going to the playoffs this year.
I think.
Yeah.
Kevin, what you got?
No, I agree. Keep going, Jay.
I was gonna say one of the most surprising groups, which is not very surprising I think for none of us, really that surprising because we know how special these two guys are. But Sexland and Cleveland Cavaliers, I love seeing Colin Sexton and Darius Garland together. Hopefully they stay healthy together, and then them getting Jared Allen and Andre Drummond playing I know some people don't like Andre Drummond, but I've always loved Andre Drummond. He's on a team now where he gets to be a leader. He gets to he's made the playoffs, so he understands how to get there. So he's and Kevin Love being on that team, even though he's probably not playing, but still having professional guys around those guys. And you still have Seti, who was there on those Cavalier runs in the playoffs, and but just seeing the growth of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, it's amazing.
Well, Colin Sexton has always been there. A lot of people counted him out because they tried to say that he didn't understand basketball, especially at the professional level. When I watched Colin Sexton back at Pebblebrook, I was intrigued on his game. He was picking up players at the half court. That's what made me like him. He had already had that sense in him. Another player that was playing with him, and I also said this to Max, was a guy by the name of Elias Harden. He was actually I want to say, wasn't necessarily a shooter, but put you in mind of small forward, can play the wing, and definitely put a bucket in the basket. But Colin always stuck out to me, James. Always did, because he had the ability to know he didn't care about his stature. I'm gonna pick you up. If I gotta fight through these picks, I'm gonna fight through these picks. But I'm gonna stay attached to you, and you're gonna know who I am while I'm guarding you. You know what I mean? He had that personality by himself. So when I heard a lot of people coming in and counting him out, you hear about the media. Even the media got involved, saying that the NBA players, some of the NBA vets were saying he don't know how to play basketball. How is it? And he's coming in now damn near 20-some points a game.
Right.
Easy. Like,
Well,
easy.
what?
Easy.
It was what? Has he seriously? Has he slowed down?
No,
Because the last time, so shout out to Rob Shaw in the Shaw's Law podcast, because I was on there and we said that he would be one guy who's not an all-star that could potentially be an all-star this year, potentially. And at that point, I think he was 8 straight games plus 23.
Mm-hmm.
It was 8 straight, like it was 30 one night, 27 one night, 28 one night, 34 one night. Like he was just going bananas. Like, and it was an 8-game stretch when we talked about it. So people counted him out because they literally expect, and he was an 8th pick. Let's be clear. He was an
Right.
8th pick. We
Right.
expect maybe the first 5 to be an immediate impact to a team. That's what we expect. More so top 3. More so. But 4 through 14, we kind of understand that maybe it'll take a year. Maybe it'll take 2 years. Maybe it'll take 3 years. But eventually they will get there, depending on who the scout is and depending on what that player is. And we're seeing now in what this will be year 3 for him. Just like Trey. Maybe because Trey had his own squad, Trey was doing, the 30 and 10, but with Colin and Darius right now, they look really good in Cleveland. And, I feel like, with Drummond there and now with the additions of Taurean Prince and Jared Allen, might need to look out for Cleveland. Now, once again, it might be a situation where Cleveland, is kind of in that area of fringe 8-ish to 12-ish, but those 2 guys, along with Drummond, they look really, really, really good.
I love Seti too. Seti made a believer out of me with LeBron James when LeBron James really was rocking with Larry Nance, and when they had that big trade with D Wade leaving, D Rose leaving, all of them. Seti made a believer out of me. He played hard on both ends of the floor and was ability to really relocate and get to his spots and knock down his shot. So Seti's a hard worker. With Kevin coming back, implementing his style of play, they have a chance to, potentially compete. And then we can't forget about Isaac.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Defensive Guru right now. You know what I mean? Let's not count him out too much. And so they have a nice squad, nice little young team. The question of it is if they will get rid of Drummond or Drummond will stay to mush the Cavs into a playoff contending team. So that's what I have right now.
Since teams, and since everybody probably want to know our opinions, how you guys, and then I love Kawhi, so the Clippers, it looks like the same old, they're gonna be great. Can't wait to see them in the playoffs.
You know what? So we're still on this buy sell. As of right now, I'm buying, and because of one person.
PG?
I don't know if anybody realized this, but Chauncey Billups is on that coaching staff.
He surely is.
And they still need like a playmaking point guard, to be honest with you.
For sure.
But they look different. They don't look like they're trying to just figure it out this year. They look a little more in cohesion with each other. They still have those. I mean, everybody looks at the 51-point loss to Dallas about 3 weeks ago. That was actually funny. It was really, really funny. I enjoyed the jokes. But since then, they've they've kind of locked in. Tyronn Lue is like, all right, let's not get this this thing off on the wrong foot. So I'm thinking that between them and the Lakers, I'm looking at them right now as top two. And they just I think they had a game. What was that game they played the other night? I can't remember the team that they played the other night. But Kawhi and PG, they looked like they were, back to their kind of like OKC third in MVP and Toronto Raptors type form.
They played the Kings.
And yeah, it was the Kings. Yeah, it was the Kings. Zubac looked a lot better, to be honest with you. I like the idea of Nick Batum. He's come in and he's made a big impact, and Serge Ibaka has made a big impact. So I really like what the Clippers are doing, but I think with Chauncey being at the helm, being an assistant coach, I think he's bringing in that Detroit mentality with them, and I think that it'll be pretty interesting to see how they continue to progress, because like I said, after that 51-point loss, like they've really been clicking. Like they've really, I think they only have 4 losses on the year still. I think they're 9-4, 10-4 or something like that. They're right, they're maybe a game or half game behind the Lakers right now, who are sitting at 11-3. So, as of right now, I'm buying Clippers stock until unless they disappoint me in the playoffs again. I'm gonna still buy it. I'm gonna still buy that stock.
Nice little playmaking PG would help them out a whole lot.
Yeah.
I was hoping that they get DJ Augustine before the Milwaukee got him. They had that veteran guy, you know what I mean? Him and Kawhi, and then Serge definitely could have used him a lot. PG as well. So I was hoping they got them a nice little playmaking PG, which they did, and they still got Bev. Bev can only do so much.
Right.
He's more defensive anchor. But I still have them making the playoffs, and I have them going top 5 in the playoff seed anyway. So,
yeah.
I really hope the Timberwolves, the Clippers, try to get Ricky Rubio off the Timberwolves. Yeah, I know he's not the super big name or anything like that, but I think sometimes people forget he was on a team that had 3 guys that averaged 19.5 plus points. When they had Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl-Anthony Towns. 2 of those guys are averaging 20-some points, and Zach LaVine was averaging like 18 or maybe 19, something around there. But a guy like that also is keeping Paul George in rhythm, letting Kawhi Leonard get his shots. He's pretty good in getting off-ball steals, and he's getting deflections, and him still I had a lot of praise for Ricky Rubio in the bubble. And I know somebody had tweeted me saying so we're praising Ricky Rubio now. I said, yes, because if you guys look, Devin Booker didn't have a point guard until Ricky Rubio. Look,
that's true.
They didn't make the playoffs because they had one less game than everybody else in the bubble. They played the less amount of games the whole season. So if they had another game, they're probably scratching and clawing like Memphis and Portland were doing. So and now you got Chris Paul, who's just hyper version of Ricky Rubio, like just the maxed out version. Not saying height and everything, but he's a point guard who's going to get you shots. He's going to knock down shots. He's going to play defense. He's going to be in a pass lane, get off ball steals. He's going to just do everything and make the game easier. I feel like that's why I give the highest praise to Ricky Rubio, because a lot of those teams, they played to their best ability when he was on their team. Even with him on even with him with the Jazz, he looked better. I mean, I'm not here to compare players, but they looked better when he was playing outside of when Michael Conley's been playing. Not saying that they're like he's a game changer, but just someone who understands a role, makes the job easier for scorers.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree.
I do have one question. Who's your 3 favorite rookies right now? Who surprised you, and who's the 2 guys that, okay, this is right on par?
Okay. So for me, not a surprise, Ty Halliburton. To me, that wasn't a surprise. I love Ty Halliburton at Ohio State, and he's doing exactly, what he needs to do in Sacramento. The other guy for me is James Wiseman. He's been really impressive, and I think he's starting to figure it out in Golden State. And then last would be a biased one because it's New York, but Emmanuel Quickley. His shooting and his playmaking ability has done the Knicks well, especially when they went on that 3-game winning streak. I know he's been kind of in and out the lineup, but, when he does play, he's productive. So those are the 3 guys, Ty Halliburton, James Wiseman, and Emmanuel Quickley. Honorable mention is Peyton Pritchard.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going with Cole Anthony. What I'm gonna say Cole Anthony is with the Magic. Markel Fultz has went out. Prayers up to Markel as well. But now Cole can actually take over. Aaron Gordon needs to take a back seat to me personally. Now I know people say, "Wow, he's the dominant. He is that team," but he isn't a playmaker.
Yeah.
So I feel like Cole Anthony fits that position a whole lot more. And Cole Anthony would just had 15 last night, you know what I mean? And if they play him more, they can actually get more out of him,
Yeah.
I also have Mason Jones with the Rockets. You see that he just scored 24 points the other night. And that was because he wasn't getting playing time because they didn't want to entrust in their rookies. You see what I'm saying? And last but not least, I'll probably go with Mr. Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards have been finding a way to actually mush. Okay, of course, we still have Mr. D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns is out right now. But the points for Anthony Edwards are seem to be a little effortlessly. And so I'm starting to get a little rearranged with them. So those are my 3 right now. I got Cole, Mason, and Anthony Edwards.
So my honorable mention would be, I think it's gonna be Peyton Pritchard. I mean, he's just doing kind of like what we're talking about with with Ricky Rubio. He's knocking down shots. He's keeping everybody rhythm. He's running the second unit. He's doing everything that you would want your rookie point guard to do. The guy
Right.
who once again is not surprising to me because I watched a lot of him at Iowa State, but Tyrese Halliburton, he looks every piece of that. Like what Rashad said, the table setter. He's the other guy. What I'm saying? De'Aaron Fox is scoring and getting assists off a drive and kick, but Tyrese Halliburton is the guy that he might get you pass the ball to him and he's getting the assist, or he's getting there throwing lobs, or he's catching it off. He's scoring off the catch and he's ripping through floater, or off the pick and roll, throwing a lob or going to the floater. I really like seeing him this year, and I think, we already talked about him, with LaMelo Ball. He really – people want to – it's so quick when a kid messes up, and we want to be like, oh, you see, I told you, he's not the goods. While, but right now he's cooking. He's looking like one of the best rookies, and, I don't think a lot of people want to give the praises because his dad hyped him up or whatever. No, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's a professional. He's being a professional. He's been a professional.
Mm-hmm.
In a professional. It's funny because I always joke with my kids. They always tell them LaMelo's lived a 2K life, 2K my player life, and he's been a professional. So he's literally taking care of business. When he gets on the floor, he's taking care of business. And sooner or later, that always will turn to win. It's always wins and losses, but sooner or later, it become to more wins than him losing. And my third guy is I'm gonna put it two because because I'm a person who just like you said, like, you know, it's Anthony Edwards. We always have these headlines, and sometimes we forget about those guys who did get drafted number 1 or number 2 because we're always talking about the headline guys. And you know, he's doing terrific. He's coming off the bench, and you know, he's playing his role. You know what I'm saying? He's scoring, and he's looking. Look, is a point in time where he's looking like second units can't guard him.
Second
unit guys, and you're to think at 19, I think he's the youngest kid in the draft. So second unit guys are not guarding him, and they've been in the league, and he looks unguardable at sometimes. Like, just from the physical standpoint, where like you can't stay in front of him, or he's gonna bully you, or he's gonna blow by you, and he's super athletic. So just giving, you know, I just want to give, you know, praise to him, because even though he might not be having he's not in a big market, he's in Minnesota, and, you know, he doesn't have, you know, certain last names or whatever, that he still gets the praise that he does deserve, because he's doing a good job as a rookie. And I think one of the hardest things is when you come in and you're sharing the ball with other players, other scorers, other guys who put the ball in the bucket. It's probably really hard, because him as a scorer, he has to understand, this is my unit I come in, and this is why I got to fill it up. But when I'm playing with those other two guys, maybe I'm catching and shooting, or I'm coming off of a screen or something, you know. So that's my biggest thing, is making sure that those also get praise.
Okay. I agree.
Nice. Yep. Yes, indeed.
No. It looks like we done wrapped everything up today. Next thing up for us will possibly be seeing the next, what we in 30 games, about to be 30 games in, 20-something games in the NBA?
Yeah, I think we're pushing closer to the to like maybe 25 games in your
So
first.
next, you know, the next thing up, we're on a 72 game series this year.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're almost halfway through the season. So we're gonna see how we're gonna do our mid-level season predictions, to see who we know is gonna carry us on out through the playoffs. And that's where we're at. That's where I'm at. And hopefully in the next week or so, we'll be bringing you all something with mid-season predictions.
Oh,
For sure.
Everybody who's tuning in, we have something. We've been trying to cook up something special, so we're not going to release what we're going to say, but it's going to be really, really special. I think it's going to be very dope. You know, so we're just going to keep that under wraps for now, but just stay tuned for that. Make sure that, you know, you guys like and subscribe. We actually me and Kev talked about getting an Instagram page. So when I make that, I will also put this on, put our link in there, and we're just going to you know, we just appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, everything, comment, everything, please.
Yeah, and prayers up to our guy Najee. He was unable to, you know, be with us today, but just want to let him know, you know, we have him in our prayers and everything. So, you know, he's the fourth part of the commission, and we got to keep it going that way. So, you know, big ups to him, and we held it down for you today. We held it down.
Yep, we surely did.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys, though.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
no
you.
No problem.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Signing out, y'all.
Signing out.